Okay, hello everyone. Give me 1 second. Okay, we are gonna get started. It is Wednesday. No, wait, Tuesday, 3 p.m. here in Chicago. Um, um, I think that's still useful. So, hello Sub, hello Garlando Bloom, hello Rare Like Unicorn. I think that's the first time I'm seeing you here. And Goggle Fox, hello. So, anyway, really funny article that Liz England posted about the door problem, which I think is super funny because doors are actually a big problem. Willem Dafoe. Hey, NCATM, how's it going? All right, so I want to talk about anyway, because so Liz's post reminded me of the door problem that I am having in Manifold Garden. So let me just share that. And yeah, she posted it on her own blog some time ago, and then Ubisoft shared it again. Hey, Beep to Bleep. Yeah, I can't remember if I said hello to Major Idea, but hello. So anyway, I just got back from Indiecade East in New York City yesterday night. So yeah, I got a lot of kind of admin logistic stuff to catch up on first. So it's gonna be a little. It usually takes me about 2-3 days before I'm like fully back up to speed. Oh, you know what? I gotta post on Twitter, let everyone know that we are now live. For example. So yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. All right. 1 second. Looking for a good picture of a door. Who's this one? Okay, hey, Flint Steel and Pal Zero. Yes, it is. It's kind of like a puzzle game. It's puzzle and exploration. How do I say it? It's a game. There are puzzles in it. I think they're very well designed puzzles. Man, TweetDeck is super slow. Okay, 1 second. Is my neck straining it this way is kind of killing me. Okay. All right. All right. So let's see. So just got back from Indiecade East to New York. Lots of good feedback. We'll be going over that. Also, we'll writing about it in the devlog. But first, let's talk about the door problem. All right. So there are a number of types of doors. I think they're well designed. Oh, you know what? I am going to... Alright. Okay, so first let's disable no clip. Ah. Okay, so we have these doors. You press a button and closes. I think this is pretty straightforward, and these serve a number of purposes. The first is that it ensures I know what orientation you're going to be in when you enter a hallway or a room, and then having them around also indicates to the player they've been in this area, you know. So it's like when they come back, they're like, oh, well, I pressed this switch, it's open, right? And then the doors also have this glass. So you can see like, right, okay, there's a switch on the other side. Somehow it's sort of like the thing in Bloodborne, Dark Souls, where okay, there's like a shortcut I can unlock later. So okay, right. Again, this tells me, this ensures I go into the room in this one direction. Okay, so where we have the door problem is, watch. So as you can see, I can use this box to open that door. Now what happens to the yellow box? It gets a little trickier, because then like I can take the red box out, you know, I can use it to lift it, and then I can bring the red box down here and bring it out here and maybe sneak it, which maybe it's good. So not let the door close, right? But this means that I can put the yellow block there and then sneak the red block out. Doesn't really cause problems, but it gets a little trickier, because then like I can take the red box out, you know, I can use it to lift it, and then I can bring the red box down here and bring it out here and maybe sneak it, which maybe it's good. So the other solution, as Thordura, and which I've thought of in the past, is to destroy it. But then how do I get the yellow box back, right? Yeah, obvious, but do you think, like, it ends up breaking some puzzles, though. But the other way is having the door, like Portal just destroys the block. So Portal destroys the blocks, Antechamber lets you carry them. But the thing is, if I destroy it, then I need a tree here for you to get the block. Oh, yeah, no, so scoot the block. Right, so Goggle Fox, the other option is to scoot the block out, which I might do, because it's like, you know, I can just ensure that it scoots it out in the direction of the player, which is not a bad thing. What about a force field inside the door frame preventing you from dropping it there? Some doors, I'm pretty sure all doors in Portal, but the thing, Pal Zero, the thing that Portal's got is it's got the force field that just doesn't let you carry box through. I don't like the ones that's too much. That's too force, you know, because then it's like, oh, I see, this is one of the doors that don't destroy it. Now I have to, obviously I gotta sneak through some. Is it possible you can't close the door or move the block? Interesting. G-G-G-U-N-E, hello, by the way, but that's not a bad idea. Yeah, the thing is, if I let you hold open the box, it just... Here's the problem, right? Because then that means for all the tree rooms, you basically will have an extra block. Like, this is the tree room. Yeah, it just gets too complicated. So like this, then you can do this, put that here, and then sneak it out. And then you'd have two boxes. I do like that not being able to take this off is kind of cool, but then you can... That's actually not a bad idea that GG20 presented, actually. Oh, but then I have the buttons. You know, that is not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea, but I don't... It just feels kind of weird. Anyway, that's a door problem. I think what I might do is just shove it out a bit. Like... Or I might do the sapling. I've thought of the sapling. It is. It just makes it... It's a little too overpowered. Because then you get like... It eliminates the number of interesting puzzles that I can have because it's just too overpowered. Like... The way this game is, then you can like put a lot of you can like sneak out a lot of boxes, which I don't want. So anyway, that's the door problem that I have. But let me talk about So, yeah, no, so major idea, the thing is, it's like, in this case, I can have it respawn, right? In this case, it's easy because I've got the tree right here, but some of the early puzzles don't have the tree. And that would mean I'd have to, like, introduce the tree earlier, which then, then it complicates that puzzle more, kind of thing. So, anyway, we'll come back to this. This is just something to kind of think about. However, I didn't mean to click stop. So, anyway, let me talk about the ledge problem. So this is actually very interesting. So I just got back. I was in New York. I was in New York for IndieCades this past weekend, and Sony was showing the game in like the part of the PlayStation 4 section. There were about like 7 games, and so it was really awesome that Manifold Garden was there. And for me, it's always a really great opportunity to kind of get some playtesting done. And I wanted to look at playtesting like both. So the main part I wanted to playtest was the areas beyond the opening level, because I wanted to see like how the pacing across the game is going to start working. Right, so the Jesus monolith. So the tricky part about that is like you basically have to complete World 1 before you can get to that, and that takes about 30 to 40 minutes. So it's not the best, but there were like several people did make it out there, and so that was really useful for me. And I did get good feedback. So basically what I'm trying to say is like I wasn't expecting feedback on this opening area, but I still got some. And this is actually an ongoing problem. So I want to bring your attention to this one piece of architecture. All right, so by the way, I am talking a bit about the opening area, the design of that. So I'm not, I don't know, if you don't want the game spoil, maybe you don't want to watch this part, but anyway, so you've got this area, right? And you can see that there's like, so I'm not spoiling the puzzles themselves, but it is a bit of the level design. But anyway, you've got this like entrance area, and you've got this puzzle in the middle, right inside, and then you've got this exit room. And the idea is you kind of want to like approach it from this area. You want to like, jump off and land here. Yes. So the beginning is kind of, yeah, like this is kind of the only part I'm really talking about. So right, so you land, you jump off, you land here, and then you walk to the opening area. Now, hey Praetorian, is it? It's close to midnight in Romania, must be. So you can see that there's this ledge around here, and there's no ledge around here. So. And I sort of just kind of put this arbitrarily there, like I thought the ledge looked kind of cool, and I did take out the ledge here because I didn't want I wanted when the player come out to like not turn left or right, but to go straight. But I think that now that there is this, but I think that was like before I added that blue button, the button right in front of the player, because now the thing is like, when you come out the door, you see the switch right away. So instead of turning left or right, you kind of go straight ahead. So that's good. So anyway, so there's no ledge, and that has a ledge, and I kind of didn't think about it. I was just like, oh, okay, that's whatever. But then what happened was I saw this, and hey, Red Garlic, how's it going? You know, this one girl, she was playing, and she got outside, so. You know, and she knew what she needed to do. She lit up the first laser beam and was like basically looking to like get into these other rooms, right? But she had this problem where she was like but she didn't quite figure out she had to go from the central tower, which is totally fine. Like that's not the only path, and it shouldn't be, right? But she ends up like, so she keeps like falling and landing on this. Here, and she's like, oh, okay, you know, I see this path, you know, I'm trying to get there, and then she like misses this, you know, because she's not sort of doing the like ninja move where you rotate in midair, and again, like that's not something you should have to do, and she just keeps like, so this is actually not the one, I think it was the yellow one, that one is much harder, so let me try that. Oh no, wait, but that one I had it. Okay, this might be a good one. Right, she's like trying to get to that, but anyway, she keeps falling off. And again, like in this case, she wants to get onto she like sees that button there, and just keeps getting onto the wrong side, or she rotate onto this, which again is the wrong direction. And she'd be like, oh, okay, I don't know what's happening. And it made me realize it's because that exit room doesn't have a ledge, right? So what I did was I've decided to go back and add a ledge, because what that does is it gives players room to rotate onto the right direction. Whew. Sorry, I think my voice is also, yeah, just been talking a lot this weekend. But, right, so there's like a good reason to add the ledge back, which is, so anyway, mostly I just kind of wanted to, I think that's you know, there's been a lot of those kinds of feedback over the course of playtesting, but mostly this was just interesting to me because, anyway, I think it solves a very important problem, but it also is interesting because, like, it made me realize, even though, you know, I was not expecting to get any new feedback on this area. I kind of thought it had just been, like, playtested to death, and I kind of had done everything I can to make it as player friendly as possible. But it was like, oh, you know, I'm still learning. You know, even after around 1,000 playtesters, I am still seeing something new. So that's oh yeah, hey Praetorian, I'm just talking about you know, had a really good time in New York. Got a lot of really good feedback, and just realizing that even after 1,000 playtesters, I'm still kind of learning new stuff about how I can make the opening area better. Yeah, new people always, but even after it's like it's, but you know, I mean, it's just I've done this. That this area has been tweaked for a year, so it's. So anyway, so what I'm doing now is, and I'll show you guys what I mean by this, is that right, it provides. You know, so I met some people at from Twitch. They seemed super stoked about the game. They said they've actually followed me on Twitch and have been kind of keeping an eye out on the stream. So that's just really positive. Oh, and I also met, you guys won't believe this, but, well, maybe, but I met, hey, Slick Entertainment, how's it going? I met Magnus, who made Soul Eye. He did the soundtrack for VVVVVV, and which I think is a great soundtrack. We should play it here at the opening sometime. It's one of my favorite, like, get pumped music. Very cool. By the way, guys, Slick Entertainment, if you enjoy... Oh, so this doesn't have the opening area. But, again, so this should add it, right? This is another good reason to add. If you guys enjoy checking out devs who stream, Slick Entertainment is working on Viking Squad. They're based in Vancouver and also stream very regularly. I always just say down. Yes, yeah, it did, yeah, that one was also good. It was like, I think it's a little heavy-handed right now, having the button sort of right in front of the door, but, you know, it's the opening level, so, and I think what someone said, like, what is obvious to me is going to be subtle to the player, and what is subtle to me is going to be invisible to the player. So, V6, he called it V. So Magnus himself called it V. So I think that might be the official. He's like, yeah, have you? He told me he was a musician, and I thought he looked familiar. And I asked him, what games he's worked on, and he said, he's like, have you heard of that game V? And I was like, oh yeah, I love the soundtrack. And I went, I love that song. Dun dun. And he's like, oh, potential for anything. The letter, someone calls it, the joke is, oh, I thought it was called WWW. So yeah, adding these little ledges to kind of make it easier for the player. So I'll show you guys what I mean. V. Okay. That's pretty good. I completed the level and was reduced to disturbingly orgasmic cries. Wow. It is a very good game. So, yeah, adding... Well, this one I might take a bit of an exception. This one doesn't work so well. It would end up... But this one doesn't really need a ledge. But all these others, so this is really good because this means, hey, Ed Riofer, what's up? right? This does mean if the player lands, like if they land here and they kind of see this stuff, they're able to walk up to here and rotate and orient themselves correctly. And I think that's really important. Hey, Lobster Dick. How's it going? Thank you. You have a very funny username. People will think, yeah, that's what Cairo did, and you know, but what's cool is like, so yeah, this is like where I saw the girl was struggling. She landed and she knew she had to get there, but like was just trying to do the like the ninja move, and I think this way it's like she can walk up and then right away orient correctly. So that's like another area where we can make sort of make the level friendlier to the player, right? More opportunities for the player to correct themselves. What happened with the light shafts? Oh, we're still doing it. I just don't have it in right now. Like, I do need to, but yeah, they are going to be in the game. Yeah, I think that's like pretty much what I want to do. You know, I think for those of you who weren't here last week, we were checking out a beta version of Lexi Dostal's volumetric light. Now, a lot of people get confused. Like, we were just kind of playing around at first, right? And I think, you know, I posted some of these screenshots to Twitter, and everyone was like, oh, that's too much. Now, this isn't what I want the game to look like. It's very much kind of just experimenting with it to see, you know, how far I can push it. But it looked gorgeous, and I think in photography mode, I do want this for players to experiment with. It's very cheap. Also, Lexi optimized my edge detection shader and like shaved off 0.8 milliseconds, which is huge. However, so that's not, we were just kind of playing around there, but led to some really, like, this is one of my favorite shots. Just absolutely gorgeous. I thought it looked fantastic. But I do think that's like a little too much. I think this is kind of closer to what I would want, like not have that be blown out so much, but just these little light shafts combined with, because I feel this looks like it's straight out of a manga, you know, with the line work and just a hint of it. I don't want it too much. So this is kind of what I think we're gonna go for. But it's gonna require some tweaking. But the great thing is Lexi's like super cool guy, and I can kind of just ask him some questions. So anyway, we took a lot of screenshots. So like this is definitely too much. But like something like, yeah, like something like this, I think would really make the game feel like, I think this gets away from Antichamber and really takes the game to new territory. But right now, it's just like, I'm trying to, I don't want to get too distracted with that just yet. Okay, what else are we talking about? Yeah, it's gonna require some tweaking, right, to get it there. But I think, and the thing is, you don't want it everywhere. You don't want to be like the J.J. Abrams of light shafts, because then that does make it, you know, that definitely does. If I keep using it, then it destroys the impact when I really do want it. So me just update this prefab. Platforms are PC and PS4. Will there ever be dark levels? Let's not talk about that. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to kind of go back around and add this to all of them. Awesome! Pal Zero, by the way, how did you find out about the stream? Did you sort of, were you just kind of randomly browsing the creative channel? Oh, so the other piece of feedback that I got from IndieKDs, and this was like, I don't know if you guys know Matt Donatelli. He's a programmer working on this game, Hive Jump. It's a local multiplayer game for Wii U and Steam. Their Steam version will have online multiplayer. Hey, Fur Trapper. Awesome. Well, Pel Zero, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for, you know, sticking around and watching for a bit. So he played the game, and he played, so, you know, the difference this time was instead of showing, like, you in the past when I showed the game, you get to the end of level 1, this world 1, and it would just, hey, by the way, Jugged Tuba 123, and Wyatt, hello. You'd get to, and Fur Trapper, hello. And you'd get to the end of world 1, and then there'd just be this sign that comes up that's like, hey, you know, demo is over, thanks for playing, there are no more puzzles. This time, though, I just kind of have the port on. You can kind of continue playing it. And Matt is not a puzzle gamer. So I think there are people in the chat. I know Ed Riofer and Garlando Bloom are both like big puzzle fans. And sometimes for like puzzle gamers, more puzzles is sort of enough of an incentive to keep going. Matt is definitely not one of those. So he like played it, and he got really far. He got into like pretty much into the like 4th world and did a bunch of puzzles there, and so it was like about an hour, although for him it felt like half an hour, and it definitely couldn't have been half an hour because it takes about like half an hour even for a good player to finish world 1. And you know, he was saying like, so after he played it, he's like, yeah, you know, the puzzle's really good, the architecture is really cool, and I like the level design, but like why am I playing? Am I just solving more puzzles? And, you know, we talked for a bit, we got some food, and I came back, and there was this other guy playing, and he had also made it quite far, and I was like, hey man, what do you think of this game? And he didn't know I was a developer. He was really nice, this guy Danny, and he's like, he was like, yeah, you know, it's really good, like the puzzle design, the architecture is cool, but again, I'm like not quite sure what I'm doing. And it was interesting because he had also been playing for the game. Again, he had gone to like the 4th world, which would have meant about an hour of playing. So an hour of playing on, you know, standing at like in IndieCade East when there's a lot going on. That's pretty cool. And he's not a puzzle game player. And so you know, it was basically like he was like, yeah, I'm starting to wonder, you know, is it just more puzzles? Like, do I, you know, if I want to do that, I can just play some like puzzle game on my phone. And well, I think it's actually no. So it's not so much what do you do, but why do you do it? And so this is very important because originally the game was, and he talked about Portal, right? He mentioned Portal as a game he really liked. He's like, I don't normally play Portal. I don't normally play puzzle games, but I really like Portal. And so, like, in the earliest version of the game, it was just puzzle. It was like, you finish one room, you go to the next room, and there's just another puzzle, and then another puzzle, and another puzzle. And I noticed by the 6th puzzle, about 15 minutes in, everybody just started yawning, right? So people get puzzle fatigue. The Portal team saw the same thing happen. Well, no, see, Orlando Bloom. Here is the interesting thing, and I think this is like, as game developers, we really have to pay attention to that, because if you can create a game like, and I think this is why Portal has resonated so much with people, is that they made their game not just for puzzle game players, but for all gamers, right? No. So I think, well, let's not get too extreme, right? I think there is some positives to what Valve does, but right. So anyway, so like the early version of the game was just like puzzle, and I saw people got puzzle fatigue, and right, the Portal team also saw the same thing, and which is why they started to add the narrative. They got like they added writing and had hey, Swift Flux, hello, thanks for coming, Swift Flux. We met at Not Jen's stream, checking out. Well, thanks for stopping by. So no. So it's not narrative, right? It's he wants purpose. So what I'm saying is, like, Portal offsets the puzzles with funny jokes and GLaDOS kind of poking fun of you and leading you around. So they add narrative and writing and jokes to offset puzzle fatigue. So what I did to offset puzzle fatigue was to add the architecture and the exploration. So that did the same thing, right? So a lot of people are like, I want narrative, but that's not really what they want. They want a sense of purpose. So what I learned, so I started to add the architecture and the exploration, and what that meant was it extended, so people were no longer yawning by the sixth puzzle, right? So they were actually engaged. And what was very cool was, so now I know what I've got the architecture and exploration combined with the puzzles, and that gives me about an hour of time. And what I need to do is, within that hour, I need to add in the hook and the engagement of, like, there is some kind of mystery here that you can discover. It doesn't necessarily have to be, it's not a reward, but they need to know, like, there needs to be overlapping goals. Like, if you watch Ryan Clark talk about Monument, like, what's really great about Stardew Valley is that you have overlapping goals, right? You're planting, you're farming so that you can brew beer, so that you can go on a date. So like you're sort of doing all these things simultaneously. Right, so like the player, he was like, I've been playing it for an hour and I've been engaged. Like, the puzzles are good, I like the exploration, I like seeing this new architecture, that's really cool. But he's like, why am I doing this instead of playing Team Fortress? He wanted to know what, and he actually liked The Witness, I think. He thought The Witness, I don't think he finished it, but he felt like there was some kind of mystery there that he had to uncover, a sense of purpose. So I think what I'm going to do, right? But if you think about it from, if you think about what I have from, like, a design standpoint, it's that I've got the architecture and the exploration combined with the puzzles, and that's given me about an hour of time that engages the player, but then by then they're starting to wonder the purpose, so I need to get the hook in for the player. Garlando Bloom, like, I think that's fine, but ultimately, for me as a designer, you want the game to be as accessible as possible, and I don't actually consider myself to be like a pure puzzle game designer or even a pure puzzle game player like Stephen Lavelle. Let's see what. By the way, thank lots of comments. You want to know if you're doing the puzzles so in the end to win the princess, right? And I don't think you have to be like as explicit as save the princess or kill the bad guy, See, I want it to be accessible. So for me, that is a goal that I want that I'm going to use with. Jordan says, I think The Witness solves that by showing obvious progression. Well, but it also hints at stuff, right? Like it's got the desk and the drawings. So you're like, what put this here? Um, right. I gotta reveal the mystery. So yeah, like what is saying is like, if you think about it from a pure design standpoint, it's like I've got an hour within to get the hook for the mystery in. So I need to do that within the first hour. So it's like that was the thing that I wanted to discover at Indicate because I do have that, but it happens like about an hour and a half to 2 hours in, and I think that's too late because then players are at that point are some of them are starting to wonder like what's happening, right? But like Steven's sausage roll is cool, but I'm also like it's not interesting to me. Like I haven't played it, but you know I think the fact that it's just puzzles, like I think it's really cool to see how the puzzles evolve, but that's also not grabbing me, which in some ways maybe whether that's but it's like I am obviously someone that thinks a lot about puzzles and puzzle games. I'm not hardcore like John Blow is with regards to puzzles, but the Witness sort of teased it, right? And I think right, and I think Smokelore is right. Like, I don't want to make a niche game. I want to make a game that engages a larger audience. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to sacrifice, I think, your initial vision, but that is a design challenge to be. I have a reason. There is a reason, but like it's not that there isn't one and I'm gonna like shove in a narrative, right? There is actually a purpose to everything. It's just that right now the beat, like it's introduced too late. It's introduced about an hour and a half in, and I want to introduce it much earlier. So yeah, like, but by Cube you do find out eventually, right? Or I think in the sequels they're a little bit more explicit. But anyway, that was kind of the big takeaway for me. From that experience. So as well as like adding this. Alright, let's go back and add that. Have I put much thought into audio design? No, I have not. Because, like, to me, the thing with Steven Sausage Roll is, like, yes, I'm very interested in seeing how, like, it's cool to see how he takes a simple mechanic and, like, all the stuff he does with it, but it's, like, I mean, I think that's a really cool design achievement, but, yeah, like, I also... I feel like yeah, anyway, I don't think it hurts to add more. I think Valve does it a little bit too extreme where it's like it sort of removes the feeling of exploration because there's always kind of just like one path forward, and I think the design philosophy of Portal 2 where they just had, that's why people are like, hey, do you have surfaces that the player can't change gravity on? And I don't, because otherwise you end up doing the thing that Portal 2 does, which is you have a room full of surfaces you can't shoot gravity on, and then you've got one piece of concrete, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll shoot a portal there. And then you just sort of do that, and then you solve the puzzle. So, yeah. And I also, what I want to do is I want to add... Alright, so we've got kind of this, like, dark tree that's got a and I want to add, how the hell does one do particle effects? Standard assets. Where is the standard Unity? Where in the world is... Does anybody know how one gets particles inside Unity again? I've totally done this before. I don't think it's this. Oh, maybe it's this. No, this is something I downloaded. There's gotta be... I thought there was one for Unity. Game Object Particle System. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, but I thought there were like I thought Unity doesn't Unity come with like a bunch of sample particles? That's really more what I was. But I might be wrong. Yeah, it should be a shuriken. Maybe not. Yeah, it might have been a, you know what, that might have been a, I think you're probably right. Okay. This might have been what I was thinking actually. So come on, how do I delete the... Oh, there we go. What I am thinking of is something like this. Color. Yeah, I only want the tips to be purple. And now I want to think about the shape of it. I don't want it to be a sphere, I want it to be a cone. Not hemisphere. Okay, let me see what this looks like. Hey, I had misty rain. It's the particles. By the way, thanks everyone for that. I think I just got it confused. I thought I had it must have been this like simple particle pack that I added from the Acid Store. It's this getting released on PS4? Yes. Yes, PC and PS4. Welcome everybody. Whoa, we've got almost 100 people watching. So we just got carried away there trying to get that thing working. So yeah, like I said, there's I guess we're on the front page of the creative channel. So thank you again, Twitch. Yeah, and I met some like Twitch people at IndieKDs, and that was really cool. So I just wanted to. So yeah, I want to start getting in the sense of mystery early. You kind of want to establish that. And I am looking into setting up a Steam page soon, so people can start adding the game on their wish list. Okay. No mesh filter on the... Ah, come on. There's no mesh filter. Okay. So, am I happy with the features of Unity, or do I ever wish I... Well, so that's a tricky question because, like, I don't... You know, when I started working on this game in 2012, November 2012, Unity really was the best option available, and there just wasn't another... There really wasn't anything else I could have done. This needs a mesh filter. Let me see if this works. Right, so it's like, it's not really a fair question to say if I should have gone back and used something else. It's just like, without Unity, this game probably wouldn't even have been made. The things... But now that I've been using it for a while, and now I'm at that stage, the late stage of development, the parts that I would complain about with Unity are that, that it doesn't have a lot of the things that one would like in a engine. And I think part of that comes down to Unity not being kind of making a game themselves. So for example, like a debug console where you can kind of, hey, Pal Zero, by the way, if anyone, if you're watching the stream and you're enjoying it, definitely do follow the channel. That really helps it grow. So not having, right, like a debug console, not like I think they're relying on the Acid Store to solve a lot of that, but the problem is then when they update Unity, that plugin's got to be updated. Like Pro Builder, I think should be a native feature because it's like impossible to use the Unity boxes. So things like that, I wish. I think should be part of the system, like QA tools. Although I think they got the unit testing stuff in. Which I think is cool. So right now this is a bit tricky because ProGrids, right? The sort of grid snapping system. I'm trying to figure out what the But yeah, I mean, there's like, I think I understand that they're trying to be as general purpose as possible, but there's just some like really nice things that you wish they would add. So, okay, I think that this needs to have... Did I say debug? I mean like, for QA. So, for example, like when you play the game, sorry, like when people are playing and there's a bug, they can hit a hotkey and that should save the position, and position rotation, and like there should be a box that comes up and they can type. Yeah, a debug console. So yeah, like in most engines, so Half-Life, Skyrim, so that stuff, right? Like we have it, but it doesn't, there's no autocomplete. Although I think this someone just sent me one that I think has autocomplete, so that might be really good. Okay, man. So I'm actually running into some problems now with adding this particle system to the game because it's not. There's like this stuff does yeah, anyway, I don't actually know what I was talking about earlier, but yeah, anyway, yeah, Garland of Bloom's like, we're just very different gamers and very different designers, right? But I think, like, for me, I'm trying to kind of work on different... I have sort of very different concerns. Yeah, I am. I live in Chicago, but I grew up in Toronto. So, yes. Fuck, man. Oh, there we go. We got it. Okay, that's kind of cool looking. Let's get the, let's tweak, yeah, I mean, the thing is, ideally, right, like, fun is not so much the most interesting thing. Like, I think fun, it's never going to be like, what's that game? What's that game? Gang Beast, right? It's very different. Like the principle for that is there much in the way of government funding for indie? I think there is. I actually don't know too much about it. I believe the way the government funding for indie games works is not is I think like tax bonuses and but they kind of I'm not 100% of this, so don't I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on this, but I think it's something like the government will provide half the development costs if you show that you're working with a publisher who will provide the other half. And then I think once a game goes on sale, it's like almost like a 50-50 split with the government indefinitely. So it's not Ed Riofer, we are not talking about dark mode. That's a little bit too well, we're going to work on it, but we don't want to go into it too much. It's too busy here. Oh yeah, I mean compared to Saskatchewan, yes. So I think that's how it works. But some people you can talk to, like Tanya Short, she made Moon Hunters. She would know a lot about the government funding, and I think same thing with right. Actually, Slick Entertainment here is based in Vancouver, and they might be more familiar. I think it actually is the media fund. I don't live in Canada, so I'm not looking into that. But yeah, Swift Flux. I think Slick is much more familiar with that stuff. And hello, Garrett. But what was this? Oh, right. So the thing I was talking about with Gang Beasts is like, that game is like, you punch someone in the face, you've got a game already, right? And I think that game is a lot of fun. Whereas for this, what I'm really interested in looking at is engagement, and I think providing a sense of purpose earlier to the player is not really, doesn't really go against that for me. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's see if we can tweak this. Oh, sick. I wish there was a little bit more randomness. Like, why are they all starting at the same time? How do I add randomness to this, yo? And actually, I do, you know what? I want this. Oh, fuck. Not too much. Particles everywhere. Yes. Yeah. Going to the Shuriken editor. I don't even know what the hell oh, is that the editor? Oh, interesting. Let's see this. Oh, it's been forever. That's obviously too much. How do I, like, why isn't there, I don't understand why there isn't, there we go. Oh, right, so you can tweak some of them. That's interesting. Oh, right. Okay, so random. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's the random between two constants. Yeah, actually that's more what I want. Yeah, that looks good. So simulate. Yeah, I don't want too much of it, so let's do 25. That effect looks kind of cool. It's hitting the max Must be 0. Yeah, rate is the delay. I think I just wanted the yeah, let's do like random between this. Start size 1. Yeah, there we go. I think this is the random between things is what I was looking for. Cool. Thank you for that, by the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and just take a screenshot so I can remember this later. You know, let's do that. That is kind of cool. There is actually some audio, by the way. Delay on spawn. Let's see here. Let's make that it's the shape. Hold on. Let me put on some music. Because there is some audio for this. So yeah, by the way, for those of you that are new, this is a game. It's called Manifold Garden. So there is some audio when you go near the tree. It's at this audio source, and it's as loud as I can make it. Yeah, well, I don't want to get too carried away. So we're just gonna get kind of the basics here, and I'm gonna just. I wish also, like, for example, like us being able to save after you make changes like this would be kind of nice. What was that? The shape. Aha. Radius. Radius angle. Okay. Emit from base. And color over lifetime. I am going to make this like that, just so that it's a little bit more on the transparent side. I think this looks cool. I mean, this is not final by any means, but you know, I think this is a good go at it for now. You know, but the other thing I was, hey, Goggle Fox. Oh, really? Just go copy component. Ah, is that what happens? Okay. Copy component. Oh, right. That's actually such a really good tip. Okay, so because the idea here is a lot of people at during NDKDs like did not even notice this thing, which is a little bit problematic, and so I wanted to make sure that it's something that catches their attention. So let's kind of walk around. Hey, the Green Gree, welcome. Oh, we're up to 102 viewers. Welcome everyone. So make sure, yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, definitely follow. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this feel mysterious? Does this feel like something you wanna discover more of? Yeah, I don't think this particle is definitely not the final look, but right now I just kind of want to grab people's attention, and I think we're Okay, I think the start lifetime, let's just do 7, and we will copy component and then just bring it back. Yeah, lots of options. Yeah, it's not very, it does look a little bit out of style, but yeah, I'm going to, eventually we will come back and change it. So let's go back to, say, it's 70, we'll say 6, and just kind of make this. Yeah, for now, I just want to grab people's attention. I don't actually want to, not sure if this is what I want to add. Yeah, this is early, so yeah, you know, Garrett just warned us that this is like, if you're not careful, you end up going into the time sink that is particle effects. So we will try to avoid that, but maybe just one more tweak. Which is size over lifetime. I was just wondering where the actual thing I'm emitting is. All right, whatever. We're not going to work on this anymore. Yeah. So anyway, if that's enough to grab, removing the angling would help. Oh, you know what? I think actually, you know what? That looks a lot better. Yes. Okay. You know what? This looks much better. Yes. Yes. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's like, I like this because it kind of looks like reverse. God, I need autocomplete. Yes, I think, you know what, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, and, you know, the last thing I will add is just having the purple come in a little bit earlier. Okay, that is it. That's it. We're not going to change it anymore. I think that looks really cool. Actually, yeah, that's not bad. Actually, I think that works quite well. Okay, so we are going to stop playing around with this. Oh shit, I hope I saved it. Anyway, remember it's 0.15. So, paste component values. Oh man, damn, thanks for that, guys. That's a really, okay, so I think we didn't get this, but that's 0.15. Size, color over lifetime. Let's make sure, let's move this here a bit so that's just a little bit more purple. So this should be This is not flare. This is like dark tree particle. You know what? Particles, dark tree. And I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect from prefab. Yeah, there we go. Play mode persist. I will check that out. Yeah, this is like stuff like this is annoying. No, this is not. What's it called? Yeah, but you know, it's like you get it and then it breaks. I don't know. I'm not complaining, right? I feel like there's with software, right? There's either software you complain about or there's software that no one uses, and so I am, you know, obviously this is what's making the game possible, but it's like, oh man, I kind of just wish there was some little bit more on the, yeah, that's too much. Oh, right, so, you know what? This is 1, 5, so we're gonna copy component. Yeah, anyway, I like that. I like the way it looks here. I think that works really well. Alright, let's go back to... Okay. So... Anyway, that's World 1 for us. Let me just do a quick run through and we'll kind of check out some of the visuals there. All right. Okay, so for those of you that are just joining us, I'm William Cheer, and I am the developer of the game Manifold Garden. It's 420 right now. But yeah, this is a puzzle exploration game. We're just kind of testing out different parts of it right now, and if you like the stream, you should definitely follow. Let's jump around a bit. I feel like this ledge could be maybe just a little bit bigger. Let me see here. This is, oh my god, the lack of autocomplete. Yeah, I think we just did that, right? It was the like oh no, right. So this should be right. So the idea is like you'd come out, and instead of like looking left or right, maybe you'd sort of see this right away and be much more inclined to, you know, what's another thing I can do is having this on a set of stairs to go down. Because like if you were to be a little bit elevated when you came out, that might be like, you know, if you came out and you're like there, that might look a bit clearer. Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, if I do the stairs, then I got to change it. But yeah, you know what? Like that world has it. That's got the stairs. Yeah. You know what? Let's do stairs for all of them. That is. So. What else is there? Yeah. So. Steps moving forward, I want to try to finalize on the programmer search. So that's definitely taking a lot of time, just like going through all the emails and setting up interviews and, you know, starting to check references and looking at people's code samples. Anyway, I'm learning a lot from there, but it's definitely a very, very time-consuming process. Lapras 96, yeah, first-person version of Monument Valley is not a bad description. Although I did start this way before the Monument Valley team started their game. So, great, awesome, thank you. How much of it is completed? Right now there's like 2 hours of gameplay, but I'd say maybe we're like 60-70% there. Anyway, so you can see this requires a bit of shifting things around. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, you can see everything is tightly integrated, so I need to move this back a bit. Or maybe not. I think we can get away with having 2, 4. I am working on this individually. Yeah. So I have had some people help me, you know, with programming, but yeah, unfortunately, it didn't. I had a programmer working on the game for a while. It's supposed to be a kind of a full-time thing, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So you know, I've been looking for a programmer for the last little while. Trying to finalize that soon. I think that's been pretty difficult. It's definitely slowed down. I think production of the game has definitely taken a really big hit. It's not really something I want to talk about, but it does. I don't know. You know, I've kind of been keeping like a very open way of development, and that is definitely like something significant. But yeah, you know, in the end, things just didn't work out. So, but I think it's probably about like a 6 month hit productivity. Unfortunately, so, you know, Garlando Bloom, unfortunately, the thing is that doesn't work because I want the player to land there. It doesn't work because that laser beam goes up to the orange door, but this one goes up to the purple. Like, unfortunately, I just have to make a call on one. Takes it to another level. Bottom dish. So, but yeah, anyway, it definitely is like, yeah, so you see what I mean? Like, if I can either have the button here and then the line facing the player, it just doesn't work to have them both. And in the end, like, I would obviously like to have the line kind of come up here so you can see it. But the problem is then that means that this laser has to bend up that way. No, if it runs up here, then there's no way to draw it around to connect. I ended up making a weird call on that, and so, but yeah, like I'm starting to think about stuff. I think kind of getting ready for launch. So, yeah, I can't have the wire switch sides. Like, it's either you have the button on. You can have the button on this side, and then the player would see the line fill up and see up the pillar, but then everybody keeps missing the button. And the reason why, and then you're like, okay, well, maybe you can put the button here and then put the exit door here, but then that means like when the player goes from here and lands, they're going to be facing the exit room instead of the entrance room, and I want the player to face the entrance room. So the wires are sort of, they work like in Portal, you know, you put a switch down and it kind of lines up everything. It shows you where the door opens, so it's like a visual thing. So yeah, I'm starting to think about, you know, setting up a Steam page so people can start adding the game to the wish list. The wire is sort of mechanical. I mean, it is visual, but it has certain rules. Like, it doesn't really work to break them. Yeah. Tower beam is fixed. Gizmos turn off the audio. Yeah, no, it's like a visual thing, but it needs to, like, the player, it needs to connect, and it doesn't, I can like wrap it around, but then it looks weird that way. So yeah, anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, so I think, you know, I think I've lost about like 6 months of work time. You know, like, because right now I don't have a programmer, and I'm spending a lot of time looking for a new one, and then when the new one comes on, they're gonna have, like, whoever it is gonna take about a month to kind of catch up on stuff at least, and I'm also gonna be like reteaching them stuff. So but such is such is game development. Yeah, it's definitely been one of the harder things that I've had to do, and not so much. You know, the thing with design is, like, you can always sort of make the right call, or it's clear what the right call is. But personnel issues is a little bit more complex. Do I work full-time on the game outside the stream? Oh yeah, I work full-time on it. Otherwise this game, if I just worked on it during the stream, it would never get done. Yeah, it's pretty much, it is definitely more than full-time. Garlando Bloom. Yeah. Oh, so I think, you know, I'm gonna start getting back into the showing games, talking, you know, doing the kind of the game thing on a game critique session. So Garlando Bloom, maybe we can have you on and we can talk a bit more about your currently unnamed game. Making games is freaking hard, guys. So yeah, what we're doing now for, you know, for everyone who's just joining, we decided that it works well visually to provide. So let's actually go back and take a look at that and see if the stairs help out. Oh yeah, you know, maybe we can wait since we just played it, you know. Let's see what else is on my mind. Right, so anyway, setting up Steam page, setting up infrastructures for doing beta testing. I think I'm going to use itch.io to start doing that. I think they've got like a way, you know. So Major Idea asks, have I found myself burning out during the development of the game? I have. I think so. The hardest part was actually in like the middle 2 years. So this game's been in development for about 3.5 years, and there was, I think the middle, I think I'm definitely towards the end of it now. Like, it's very clear where the game is going, and a lot of it is just execution, but the middle part was hard, the hardest. So like at the beginning of 2012, you know, or rather at the end of 2012 when I started working on it, that one, you don't really feel burnout because at the time you think you're like a total rock star development. If you're new, you're just like I remember meeting the Octodad guys here in Chicago, and I was like, this is before I made anything. I just started playing with Unity, and they told me they'd been working on their game for 2 years, and I was like, oh, these guys are such amateurs. Like, why is their game taking so long? So I can't see it. That's a bit of a but right. So then, but like, you initially you think you're like a total expert because you know nothing, but the middle part of it, so like about year, and then the first year you're just still very excited about the project, and I still am, but basically the middle part of it is when you start kind of realizing the scope of the game, and then you're realizing how terrible your game looks in comparison to a ton of games that are out there on the market, and it feels like you've been working on it for about 1.5 years and nobody knows about your game. Like when I showed at PlayStation Experience the first year, it was like a bunch of people came by and nobody knew about it. That was before I got funding. I didn't know where it was going to end. So yeah, Dario111 Indie Fund has invested. So like, I didn't know if I was going to get Indie Fund. Nobody knew about the game, and I'd just been working on it, and I didn't know like where it was going, and I was getting rejected from a lot of festivals. And I actually still get turned down. Like I don't get into Indiecade, I don't get into a ton of festivals. But then I'm also just kind of realizing like that stuff is not that important, and there are games that work well there, and my game is just not one of those. But that doesn't mean like it's a bad game or not. And what's really cool is now it seems like every time I show the game, either everybody has heard of the game, or they've like, usually people have heard of the game, they're excited about it, or they've like seen screenshots of it on Twitter, and even though people don't know what the game is about, they're all like, oh yeah, this game is very pretty and it doesn't look like anything else, and you've got a really beautiful looking game. Which is not the feedback I was getting 2 years ago, which is that your game looks very generic and it looks like Portal. So, and you know, here I am, I'm streaming development on Twitch, and like, you know, got 104 viewers watching. So maybe this is not too bad. You know, Indie Fund backed it, so like, they're excited about. You know, it's like people in the industry who kind of know what they're doing. I mean, they know what they're doing, but like, I mean, more people like the hardest part that I struggle with is deciding when I think something is good, whether I'm just deluding myself into thinking it's good or if it's actually good. And stuff like Indie Fund helps because you're like, okay, there are people who've made games, who've played a lot of games, and they think it's kind of cool. So that's like very reassuring. What do you guys think? So I'm a little bit concerned because you come out and the first thing you see like that's blocked, but maybe this distance is short enough that I don't have to concern myself with it. Yeah, like self-confidence is like, so that's why for me it was like a huge deal when Jonathan Blow liked it. You know, he played it and he gave me really good feedback and he said like, you know, I think you're gonna have a neat game, and I like the puzzles. And he was sort of, I know, talking to some of the Indie Fund people. Like Jonathan's got a very specific kind of game that he likes, and I know, you know, when my game came up, he was like, "Yes, good game would fund." Like within 2 minutes, he just wrote back, "Yes, good game would fund." And he had played it before, but I think he'll give you feedback, but it I did not decide to pursue games full time. I was actually an installation artist for many years. So for those of you that are new, I'd actually did like installations like these balloons for several years. And also worked briefly in advertising where I made one ad for feminine hygiene. It did win a lot of awards and kind of was the first ad to feature blood, but that's like a different story. Right, so anyway, like knowing John liked the game, and he's obviously an expert when it comes to puzzle design, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, I do think I'm good at puzzles, right? And then I talked to like people like Brendan Chung, and he's like, okay, you know, you've got like interesting level design. And, you know, and then I'm talking to Joel Burgess, who works at Bethesda, and he's, you know, he's the one that organized the level design workshop at GDC. So I'm starting to kind of get, like, exterior validation. And I don't think that's, like, you shouldn't be living your life based on that, but it is good to be like, okay, I'm not, what I think is good actually is probably good according to a bunch of people. So that's yeah. And weirdly enough, that ad's got the maze, which like actually is kind of a big theme with my work. But I'll leave that to like the psychoanalysts to talk about. Right, and then like obviously Sony is showing the game, taking it to events. They took it to E3, so I'm like, oh, okay, well Sony's interested. So that's like all of these factors kind of really help with the confidence thing, and just that the fact that like more, you know, like I'm getting more followers on Twitter. Again, I don't think you should be living your life to be like, I want more, like based on these numbers. I don't think in and of themselves those are important, right? But it's sort of these good signs. They're only important in the sense that they are signals that you're on the right track, and that to me is helpful. And so now it's like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The path to finishing the game is clear, whereas before it was like in that middle 2 years you're just like, I have no idea what I'm making. I have no idea where the game is going to end. There's a ton of design problems. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares about the game. I think that's like the really tough part, and I used to just work all the time, but now it's like, you know, I start work around like 10 in the morning, and I'll work until, you know, very dedicatedly until like 6, 7, and I like to work on, I work on weekends, but I don't work like hardcore. So when I'm working with someone else, I don't like to be like checking in. I sort of just like to play around with stuff. You know, and I might do some work later. So I think on average I end up working about like 60 hours a week, which is not crazy. Like 40 hours is like a regular work week, right? But I really enjoy what I'm doing. So I don't mind putting in a few more hours every day and doing it on the weekends. But I don't do stuff. And like at Indie KD said, there was this guy, and he does his podcast, and he's like, hey, you know, I'd love to have you come on and talk about the game. Yeah, the art is really important. I could put the block at the top. Nah, it's too much. I think it's like real life. It's that's like too in your face. But what was I saying? Somebody remind me what I was talking about just now. Something about burnout, hours worked. Oh right, so this guy that runs a podcast. He's like, yeah, you know, maybe we can get you on next weekend. I'm like, that sounds cool. And he's like, yeah, our times are 7 p.m. Saturday and 8 p.m. Sunday. And right away, I was just like, yeah, I can't do it. Okay, Slick, thank you for stopping by. By the way, guys, follow Slick Entertainment. Check out their stream. Tomorrow, they'll be on the front page of Twitch. Yeah, really cool team. And, you know, they also do development streams. So definitely check it out. Yeah, give them a follow. So what was I talking about? Oh, right. So yeah, right away I was just like, you know what? I'm sorry, I can't do it. Like, I don't want to work. I mean, I might work on the game Saturday night, but I don't want to feel obligated to have to like stay home when I can really go out and enjoy myself. Not that I really do that, but having that option is very helpful. And it's funny just because like 2 years ago I would have been like, yes, let's do it. Like, I just would have, but now I'm sort of making sure I have time for myself, and I think that for me is a really, like, I think that change in mentality is important. So, anyway, all that is to say, I have dealt with burnout before. It is very real, and I think it's important to learn to manage that, but part of it is also like, I don't know if it's, part of it also feels inevitable. I mean, it's a passion project and you want to do well, and I think there might be some people who are really good even at the start of a project to just be like, I'm only going to work 40 hours a week, but I don't know, like I don't think it's good to, I don't think it's obviously not good to like promote crunch, but I also don't think it's good to just like be like, oh yeah, you know, 40 hours a week is totally gonna get your game done. So, because I don't also believe that, but you know, that doesn't mean that if people are working for you, they should work that. Was I always a programmer? No, I was actually, not always a programmer. I did learn a bit of programming because of working in physics. Not true though, but in a way I basically made Manifold Garden like 100 times. Yeah, so I was actually, you know, I should talk a bit about, so like, you know, I was an installation artist, and this is, I want to talk about this someday, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people really want their career to get started like super early, but you know, I originally went into advertising because I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I thought I'd go into advertising, I'd become an art director, then I would direct commercials and then short films and then do movies. That's like, by the way, not the path to go. Like, it's really hard to go into advertising in and of itself. But anyway, things didn't work out at the agency, and I ended up working at a studio doing science museum exhibits, and I think I was making like $150 a day. So it was like paying me less than 20. It was like a day rate. So I think I was getting, yeah, I was basically getting paid like less than $20 a day, less than $20 an hour working on this. But I did get to learn C++, and all that stuff eventually led me to work on Manifold Garden. So all I'm saying is like, you can gain a lot of different experience in different places that can become really helpful in your career later on. So, you know, like if you come out of school and you don't get to be the creative director of Blizzard, or if you don't get to work on your dream indie game project right away, like that's not, and I actually learned a tremendous amount of stuff working for other people. Anyway, so that's my rant. All right, we've added stairs. I guess the other two already had stairs, so let's go around and take a look. Jump back into the game. Let's play myself. People who make... That reminds me of Quarter. People who may take on complicated creative projects become lost at some point in the process. It is the nature of things. In order to create, you must internalize and almost become the project for a while. And that near fusing with the project... Huh. Where once the movie he or she loses... Yeah. Man, where is that quote from? Can you... Do let me know the book. That is like... That is so spot on. So yeah, I started off anyway, and the reason why, like at first when I was working at the studio, I was really frustrated because that studio that made science museum exhibits because so I was working at this agency, Leo Burnett, which is like one of the biggest agencies in the world. They invented, they were the first ones to use like mascots for kids cereal, and also did a lot of they did like Marlboro Man, which is actually like the biggest ad campaign ever. The most successful one. Totally crazy though, but obviously awful with smoking. But anyway, that studio had... So Burnett obviously has like their production pipeline down, right? There's like the guys that do creative, there's the guys that do production. And at this tiny studio, they didn't have that. And at first it was a little annoying because I was like, wait, I'm supposed to do everything? But it ended up being a really good experience because I had to see the entire project through. Right, so I was doing like high-level stuff and then also like low-level shader work. So that got me learning shaders for the first time, which again, like I said, was, I feel like this can be a little bit shorter so you can see that. Again, it was all very, very helpful. Creativity Inc. Oh man, that's a great book. I'm gonna check it out. Thanks for that suggestion, Major Idea. So yeah. All right, everybody. Let me just, for those of you that are just joining the stream, I'm William Cheer. I'm working on this game. Indie developer, working on a solo project, Manifold Garden. And it is a first-person exploration puzzle game coming to PC, PS4. I think we are in the last 12 months of development, so the final stretch. The game's been in development for 3.5 years. If you like the stream, you should definitely follow. Yeah, I feel like these can be emphasized by having that block move in. Oh, I can also just make the steps smaller. Fuck. Hold on a second, guys. Let's just realize I don't have to have these steps be like 8. So how many steps are there? There's 8? 8 steps. It doesn't need to be 8 steps. You know what? We should just make it 4. And that way it's a lot shorter. Yeah, so let me create, this is my staircase generator. So this is like another tool. Oh, by the way, so back to what I was saying, I think it's really helpful to work at another studio, even if you want to be indie, because check out Lucas Pope. He made the Papers, Please and Return of Obra Dinn, and he used to be a tools engineer at Naughty Dog. And he's able to make a lot of tools on his own, and he like, you learn a lot about, oh no, wait, this is not with just steps. Anyway, you learn a lot about production and being professional when you work at a studio. And for a year or two, I think that's incredibly valuable experience. So what are you guys talking about? Opposition, but yeah, Creativity Inc. I'm gonna write that down. That's a really... All right, so like what I'm thinking is, so I think this solves the problem of the steps. Like I think the steps are good, but they sort of, it's kind of pointless if they're blocking your view of the switch. So I'm thinking I can do this. Anyway. Well, I think you just learn a lot about a studio, right? You learn like how they do marketing, you learn how they work with personnel, you learn, you know, you learn what to do, what not to do. Like I think just stuff like that can be very, very helpful. That's what I mean. And then so you make mistakes. You know, you don't have to make mistakes on your own, and I think that's super helpful. Tree room, like you learn why they use certain editors. Right, and also you meet other people. Like a lot of my, a lot of yeah, a lot of my creative friends are from my time working in advertising. Okay. I also have a mindset where you don't tend to see the accumulated cost of the little inconveniences until later. Are you talking about being as an indie? Although there's sometimes like people coming from... Ah, yes, that is it. That was the right move. Yeah, I know. I just yeah. No, I should do it. Like I said though, right? I'm not a very good coder, and I obviously I should. It just right. The thing with games though is like you've got like a million problems you're dealing with simultaneously, and no, I should. Right. So like obviously I could do with a producer, but right. But I'm saying like if I had a programmer working on the game, I'd just be like, yo, do that, so I don't have to worry about it. Right. Just my mind is not thinking about that. Right. My mind. I'm thinking about where I want to put the stairs. So, right, like this is the problem I'm dealing with, and I think they're very different gears. Like, yeah, I think this is good, right? So now, like, what's good is that this is like you come out and you see that switch right away, right? I think let's drop this off. Let's keep this in a loop. See if that comes down from above. Come on! I must have gotten stuck on something. Yes. Anyway, like, you come out of the stairs, and... Because I think you wouldn't be like, turn right? You're more like, oh, door open. And then you're like, hey, is that right? So this is... Again, like, my mind... I'm not very good at multitasking, so... And really, I'm just much better at level design than I am. I'm much better at level design than I'm at coding, so my time is more efficiently spent level designing. But yeah, no, so like, that's... Anyway, these are just, again, it's like your mindset, and then you gotta work on all these... Just kind of lots of different things. Gaming is so I think what we're gonna do is we are going to delete all of them, and but like for example, I used to do these I used to put these stairs by hand, and now I do it with a now I do it with the tool. So that again has saved me a lot of time. So there are definitely areas where I've optimized. As a programmer editor, I love playing other people's games, but I don't get nearly as much satisfaction coding other people's games. I'd rather be coding my own game and implementing my own. Yeah, but all I'm saying is like you can get there, but definitely having experience at a AAA studio. Like I don't think going to work at a AAA. Like a lot of people just, I think they want to go indie like right after school, and that's good. But I'm just saying like there's also a lot you can learn working at other people, so you shouldn't get like discouraged, and you should instead use that as an opportunity to learn stuff. Still, you can improve that. You have to learn to fire up the thread in your brain that's, oh, I do this, like, maybe make it faster. Yeah, I'm going to do the, I don't really enjoy... I don't know why I'm making that sound. Aha! Of course, that leads to a bunch of other problems. Okay, so what are we doing here? Oh, right, so I need to fix this side. Ah, yes. Sometimes with progress, these things get messed up when they're moving around a bit. All right, Major Idea, thank you, and thanks for stopping by. I will see you around. Does this game have any backs? There is an implicit narrative. Yes, there is. Wait a minute, how does this part line up? There's something fishy going on here. I don't know how I managed to line this up. What the hell? Oh, right, because I didn't. Oh, right, that's right. So this path is... going to try to finish this project at work, then taking the leap into indie when it's done. Swiftflux, you know what you should do is definitely go to GDC and meet people, and yeah, just make sure to do it prepared. And I think there are devs like Ryan Clark who've done a lot of stuff like with their kind of the market research stuff, talking about the zeitgeist, and I think that stuff is all really, really helpful. You know what you can do is if possible to try to work with another indie. For example, like that's kind of what my friend Matthew Yeager is doing. He's working with Battle Chef Brigade on their project. Oh, fuck. This is annoying. Where can I trim? Anyway, did I talk about Matthew? Yeah, right. He's working on Aerobat, and is also helping out with Battle Chef Brigade, and so he's kind of learning a lot of stuff that's like very relevant to being indie. I think I wanna. So I'm gonna get rid of this. We're gonna dial back this tunnel. Well, I have been streaming for about 2 hours today, so I am going to finish this stuff off the stream today. But thank you everyone for stopping by. If you enjoyed the stream, you should follow. The game is called Manifold Garden. I stream. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's good. Yeah, and feel free to kind of ask questions here about your game if you want feedback on it. But Ryan Clark does that thing where he why is that important? So Ryan, I don't know if actually he's still doing it, but check out how some of his streams on Friday. So Ryan_Clark, he made Crypt of the Necrodancer. He's written articles on Gama Sutra about how to, like, his approach to designing indie games, which is like very business savvy. Ryan's not the guy that's like, oh, yesterday I had a dream about this game, I must make it. Right? He's like, okay, what is currently trendy? Like, is this something that I can do? What hasn't been done? Is this something I can do in a reasonable time frame with the resources that I have? And he's made 10 games, 8 of which have been profitable. And I don't think, obviously, profit isn't really like the main motivation, right, for doing games. But if you want to be sustainable, that's like definitely something to consider. Right, like you can't really do marketing once a game is done, and you can't do you don't want to be doing marketing once the game is done, etc. and so on. But anyway, I think Ryan does an approach where he analyzes like the current zeitgeist in games, and I just think it's like a really smart business approach. Your non-game, sure. I mean, I only have like a few minutes though, so I don't know how much I can take a look at it. I will also be streaming again tomorrow. Right. So for those of you that are new, I stream development of the game every weekday, usually like 3 p.m. to 4:30, 5:30 p.m. Central. That's like UTC 2000 hour. Yeah, so if you, Smoke Lord, if you want to give me that tomorrow, I can be a little bit more thorough in my response. Yeah. Man, that's a tough one. But you are still working on the game, which I think is really good. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh, but this is the one you were telling me about. This is the one you're collaborating with your girlfriend, am I right? It looks really cool. Is it projected on some kind of dome? That looks sick. Neat particles. Yeah, it looks very cool. That's in Unity, right? I see the tag. Yeah, that's cool. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Yeah, and we are going to have a Steam page set up soon-ish, so people can start adding the game to their wish list. Gotta get that conversion stuff. Oh, Lexi, I'm just signing off now. But by the way, HX Lexi, he just joined the chat. That's Lexi Dostal. I actually have no idea how to pronounce her last name, Lexi. But Lexi worked on the. He's the guy that made the really cool volumetric light that we played with last time. It's currently still in beta, so it's not available. But yeah, it looks gorgeous, and you know, these are kind of some of the images we took. It's not what Manifold Garden is going to look like. It's a bit too much, but you know, eventually I am going to add in sort of like have it be a little bit subtle. Yeah, I stream usually like 2 hours earlier, but yeah, I was tempted to not work today and just play with your volumetric lighting system. But yeah, like just as subtle for the most important moments, and I think it's gonna look really, really cool. Puts the god in God rays. But Lexi should stream too. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And have a good rest of your Tuesday.